Hey everyone, so I'm going to talk to you all about the adjustments I made on the sleek skateboard to improve stability but also increase the maneuverability and turn radius. As you saw in the last video, there was a test going downhill where I was actually getting speed wobbles, which led me to do a little bit of research because, again, as you all know, I can run waterborne adapters without speed wobbles. After doing some testing, I found some things out about the bushings, and there's some things I changed up with those bushings, with the angles of the trucks, things like that. So I'll get into all of those things, how that changes your board's ride, and how you can increase your agility and stability as well. Let's get into it. This is Sleek Skateboards' stock bushing, running at just over 0.65. For comparison, RipTide's Cannon and as well as their other bushings run at 0.6, and these blood oranges as well. So their stock bushings are a bit taller, and that makes a difference. Now there's a reason they actually went for that size of bushing, and it's mainly to keep the smooth look of having the nut flush with the kingpin right there, and really emphasize on their machined kingpin and just their machined trucks in general. This is all CNC machined in-house, so it's very extremely high quality, and honestly the black bushings, the way it looks flush and smooth, kingpin is right flush against the nut. That's a really sleek look, definitely fitting for the sleek skateboards, so I definitely understand why they chose that size over just standard bushings. However, I'm talking to them currently about some possibly softer bushing options. We'll see what's in store with all that, and I'm excited to bring you guys more about that. So I'm still testing something, and I'll get more into detail in just a sec. But with the Cairo 73A and this RipTide 78A here, keeps the front agile and the extra washers there to keep that 50-degree angle in the trucks. On the back side, we have two RipTide Cannon. That's just to solidify the back truck a little bit more, keeping it solid at speed but fluid when carving. Stock riser pad left there for added torque, and the angled riser pad de-wedging the back truck to decrease the turning, add more stability for downhill. So this decreases the angle, which increases stability. You can see here the truck tilts more inwards below 50 degrees. And then I'm wedging the front truck to increase the agility and turn radius. This increases the angle from 50 degrees, adding a little bit more. Even small degree changes make a big difference. So before I go too much more into detail, I want to explain just a couple quick things that might help this whole video make a little more sense. With the front truck, you're going to see the bushings that I used as well as the washer combination. The reason I chose this is to keep bushings, the washers, and the nut, everything pretty much flush right here. The lower the nut is on the kingpin, it's actually bringing your truck degree just slightly lower. It can be a very, very, very tiny difference, even to just the 1th degree, but that can actually make a difference as far as stability, agility. It can turn your truck one way or the other, honestly. So the reason I did all this is because I wanted to keep the 50-degree angle of this truck as much as I possibly could before angling the front truck with this angled riser. And the angled riser does lift it up just a bit. I have it angled out towards the front of the board, so that actually increases the agility on the front, increases the turn radius more than just a flat riser pad would. With the rear truck, this is actually the complete opposite going on here. With this one, I actually did not add, let me get this wheel out of the way. I did not add any extra washers when installing these bushings. I kept it as low as I possibly could. That actually decreases the degree of these trucks just very slightly. Being that they're 50 degrees, I would say that would only decrease it to maybe 48 degrees, if that. And then with the riser pad I have on here, I left the stock one underneath to give a little bit more torque, being that this is on the back. I wanted the back to be slightly lifted to give that kick-tail sort of torque feeling on the back. Having the riser pad de-wedging, if you can see, it's actually facing towards the front. When you have it facing in, it actually decreases the agility. Not necessarily in a bad way, but what it does is it stabilizes the board. It decreases the angle. So this truck now with the riser and with the bushing setup would be, I would say, somewhere around about 45 degrees. De-wedging the rear truck increases the stability in the back, while wedging the front, or increasing the wedge in the front, actually increases the truck's degree, or the kingpin's degree, to, I would say, somewhere around maybe like 52 degrees, 53. With the bushing combination and that riser pad combination, that fully increases the agility and the turn radius I can do on the front versus the back, that just decreases it, increases the stability for going downhill. Here's an incredibly valuable diagram that I found over the years of research through forums. It shows the differences in how you can set up angled risers and just standard risers. I'm sure I'll reference this again, but that top section is the one we're going to focus on, and as you can see, I chose the middle one there for my current setup. I've experimented with many different combinations of these. For example, my loaded Vanguard is actually set up like the very top one there, where most of my downhill boards are set up like the middle one. Pause here and screenshot that. The reason I went for RipTide bushings, as always, is the fluidity. There are no other bushings that I have ever tried out there that have that super responsive feel to them. They squish in all the right places, they don't slop, they're fit more precisely. There's so many reasons I can't even begin to fully explain it. It's just something you have to feel. It just gives your board a much more natural, intuitive feeling. It reacts exactly how you want it to with your feet, they're just perfect. Don't want any shake, any slop out of the trucks, because that of course does lead to speed wobble, instability, it feels a little less natural, things like that. So that's the reason why I went with RipTide cannons. They honestly, in my opinion, were perfect. And I'm talking to Sleek Skateboards about their stock bushings, maybe having other bushing options, things like that, and also with RipTide, seeing if they're maybe able to partner with Sleek Skateboards, get molds of their trucks, things like that, so they can make bushings precisely to fit into these trucks, as well as maybe some pivot cups, because RipTide pivot cups are always amazing. So those are a few things that I'm working on. I hope we can maybe get something out there for you all soon, so I'll keep you all updated on that. So these are some of the things that I've done with the Sleek skateboard, and this is honestly a gathering of knowledge over the years of my skating experience. These are some things that I've actually been wanting to talk about, so I'm actually glad I've got another chance really to build a board in this way. Again, as kind of like a quick rundown, I kind of went into detail for some of you who aren't really familiar with these certain things, but I went a little quick as well for those of you who already know what I'm talking about. So as a quick rundown, to increase the agility, increase the turn radius, get a better carve and fluid, be able to do sharp turns, things like that. I got softer bushings for the front truck, made sure I kept the angle at 50 degrees so I have as much turn radius as possible, more turn than lean, and I also wedged the front truck, therefore adding the wedge facing out, increasing the turn radius, increasing the angle of the front truck, further increasing the agility. Turning all comes from the front truck. That's where all the turning comes from, and all the stability comes from the back truck. Anytime you get speed wobbles, most of the time, it's going to be coming from your rear trucks here. So that's why I did the changes to the rear truck. I added harder bushings. Again, I chose RipTide because they're more fluid, so even when I am doing carving or taking really sharp turns, this should still be able to match me where I'm turning with the front truck, if that makes any sense. Double barrel, the certain bushing combination, not adding the extra washers so it's not flush with the kingpin, decreasing the angle that way, also decreasing the angle with the angled riser. All of those things together further stabilizes the back, further prevents speed wobble, stabilizes the board from the back immensely, while keeping the agility in the front. And again, I kept that stock riser pad down here, the back one, just to kind of add a little bit of a torque, allow the back truck, or the back end of the board I should say, to kind of feel more like a kicktail, have a little more torque whenever you're pushing down on the back. So with all of these things together, these are all things that you can do to kind of make the board feel a little bit better for you, a little more natural for you. So again, I wanted to increase the agility, increase the turn radius, be able to carve and turn on a dime, but still be stable at high speeds. Most people think it's one or the other. However, with angled riser pads, the right bushing combinations, and using the right washer combinations, learning the angles of the trucks, all these things can make a huge difference. So all of these can definitely help you to build the board of your dreams. Now before I add any more changes, I have some very special packages coming just for this board, so stay tuned. So thank you all so much for watching. Please take care, stay safe, and please never hesitate to reach out and ask me any questions.